He has a track record of that. It's not nothing new that he's doing. This is his whole game. And you know, it was like when the brother said that he's a Moor. Reaction when the brother said that he was a Moor, you already knew that something was gonna go down. Mm-hmm. Right? But we wanna also, I wanna take a page out of my good brother, Sheldon L., right? Our traveling Moor, our Moor that goes all over the world on a regular, right? That was very key to Moors having a solid position against people making these claims, right? How come they don't debate Dr. Ben? That. Well, let's just see what we mean by that. So if we go to page 546 in this book, who all the black guys have this book. All the black guys, all of them have this book, right? Page 546. Western historians continually tell everyone that the Moors were an Arab people, forgetting that there were two types of Moors. The African Moors, the first to enter Iberia in 711 with Tariq. There were amalgamated African Asian Moors, the offspring of African and Asian Muslims, the Asians, originally from Arabia and other areas around the Fertile Crescent, entered Iberia 12 years later. So Africans, Asians, and Arabs, according to Dr. Ben, who is all these guys' top scholar. So if Dr. Ben's going to say that Africans are Moors and Arabs are Moors and Asians are Moors, why are these people drawing maps and stuff and then circle stuff and then say Moors from here and then try to imply that, you know, Saudi Arabia? Mm-hmm. Pale people founded with anything quote unquote Arabic. When Dr. Ben, their renowned scholar, Islam to renowned royalty, their renowned scholar, right, is letting them know who the Moors are, but that those same jackasses are also Moors. Talking BS about their own birthright. Talking BS about talking against their own ancient foremothers and forefathers. And wonder why they have to do slick stuff like create a show, podcast or whatever, called Shot 97, which he's really a biter because he wants to be on Hot 97 so bad, but he can't. He doesn't want him because he's a dick. And he's stuck doing his Shot 97 BS. Right? And then also as well, keep in mind, it's that you realize the individuals who choose to splice that star show and put it on their page. When there's been star shows about all types of stuff, ain't nobody splicing nothing on the show before. Police shooting, all that type of stuff. They splice that. As soon as the more stuff come, or they want to splice stuff, put stuff up, both stars again, and try to.
More is a hot topic.
It's a hot topic right now. The Moors topic is the hot topic right now.
Yeah, man.
It's about right now. What the hell is this thing called Moors? Everybody wants to know. And it's like what brother's saying, once people study, everybody's going to find out. And all these people who've been playing games with people's birthright for the past 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 years or whatever like that, People realize that these people have been playing them. We are going to just have to sit back. You know, I remember when Noble Drew Ali said, went to an old sheik. Sheik, you know, we need to build up this land or whatever, you know, give us some people. And the old sheik said, put those Moors over there because they're not going to do nothing. It's the same thing that's going to happen when the people realize and they come to the Moors and they say, Moors, who the hell's been playing around with my birthrights all this time or whatever, made me lose my stuff? Oh, see those Moors over there, the naturalizing Moors, and I'm your Sultan and I'm your Prime Minister Moors, and we started this organization and we're going to go to the UN and get you your stuff back, Moors. All those Moors were the ones that sold you your stuff. Just study it for yourself to find out what it is. Islam.
Islam.
So, if you don't mind, if I interject on that one point with the
Not at all.
star guy, I want to, along with what the book that Brother Kujay read, I also introduce this book into everyone's libraries. And you're going to find on the page, that area, I'm going to read two different paragraphs out of it. And it says, now when Claudian wrote, and for a long time after, Moris signified a great deal more than a native of Mauritania. Now, I'm going to pause there for a second. I want everyone to understand this book is written in 1895. This isn't modern. So this isn't the modern scholarship. This is closer to going to, you know, your firsthand accounts, your firsthand information, what they understood back in the 1800s. Okay, now, or it may be more correct to say that Mauritania implied as much through, though in a different quarter, as Scythia did. Any Latin dictionary, any old one at least, will tell you that Moris is a Moor, a blackamoor, or a tawny Moor. And Shakespeare uses the word Moor as a synonym for Negro. As that word bears nowadays a somewhat restricted meaning, it may be better to take the old-fashioned blackamoor as the nearest English rendering of Moris, signifying thereby any black or brown-skinned man. Consequently, the translation of Claudian's line is this: he subdued the nimble blackamoors, not wrongly named the painted people. And that's one part. Now let's deal with what he's saying and what most of your unlearned or people who want to talk about that we weren't called Moors all over the earth. Okay, so now we're going to go to page 49. Remember, this was written in 1895. So this isn't a modern change. This is what they knew of us in the 19th century or the 18, 17, 16, 1500s. It says, the country of Moravia is said to receive its name from its chief river, Morava, marsh, or anciently Moris, and its first known inhabitant, or stated to have been a people named Quadi, who immigrated in the 5th century to Gaul and Hispania. The river Morava is tautologically for Moravia, or Morava, is Moor River. Whether Ava be regarded as Celtic or Gothic or a language older than either, it is not unreasonable to conjecture that the Quadi who went into France and Spain may have borne this name Moor, the other having been given to them by outsiders or vice versa, meaning that they were calling themselves Moor and that the others started calling them Quadi. They seem to have been known to the Romans, against whom they fought, by the first of these names. Lemprey gives several nations bearing names beginning with Moor. The Mori or Morenius in India, the Moruni in that country also, and the Moruni, a people of the Belgic Gaul or the shores of the British Ocean, or examples. The Mori of Mauritania, or perhaps the most notable examples of a nation bearing this name, though in a slightly altered shape. Stop with the games, people. I mean, like, for real. Let's stop with it, because I've heard Cujo bring up Dr. Ben Yakinen several times. And in the same point that I've heard Sinetta, Reggie, and the rest of the Federation of Debaters mention Cujo, and then have the audacity to mention Dr. Ben in the same time talk, as if they ignoring what Dr. Ben presented. On the video, he presents the fact that we called ourselves Moors. This is Dr. Ben. So, if you're going to say that this is your master teacher, and I've heard, who was it? I think it was Shaka. Is that what his name is? Shaka.
Shaka almost.
Yeah, that guy. The guy with
the one with the weave in his head.
The guy with the weave. The singer. That guy.
Lord.
I've heard him in one breath talk about the meta-netter and all this. So let me give this for those who may not understand the actual meaning of the attribute of Moor. The root of Moor is the MR. It's the MR. That's the root of it. Understanding we don't have any vowels in ancient linguistics or language. There's no vowels. The root is the MR. So you're going to find that root in the meta-netter, meaning beloved. It's pronounced Moor. That's the pronouncement. You're going to find it in the name Tamari or Tamaray. Ta meaning land, Mary meaning beloved. So you find it meaning beloved land or land of the beloved. Now, let's go further back than that. Let's go back to the cuneiform, where you're going to find that the region that is now known as Ethiopia was known as Moruk. This is a fact. You can go into the ancient cuneiform where the region is named Moruk, and different provinces of the region are called Meru. What you have to also understand with the time period that's being called Moruk is that this is the time period where, using a modern word, where Babylonia and Mesopotamia were provinces or colonies, and they weren't colonies, but this is the modern word so people can understand, meaning governed by the same rulership. So Mesopotamia and Babylon at this point were governed by the people of Ethiopia, and they were, in fact, the same people. So during the time the cuneiform is written, the people of what we now call Babylon, Mesopotamia, the Middle East, were calling their home Moruk. This is a fact. This is ancient history.